Hello there, kia ora. It's October, which means we're coming up to the 1 year mark since the election, which isn't the same as the 1 year mark since the government came into power, since it took them so long to negotiate, well, just about everything ACT New Zealand First wanted into the coalition agreement. And it seems maybe things aren't going so well with the current government. Labour internal polling has just a 2 point difference between the left and right blocs. Luxon is still a historically unpopular Prime Minister, and with comments like, "We get it, I'm rich," he just can't seem to connect to the everyday person on the street who's struggling under his government's policies, while he sits back and counts his hundreds of thousands in untaxed capital gains he's made in the last month after 2 property sales. After the decision to gut the Dunedin hospital to service the entire lower South Island, which saw 35,000 people out in protest over the weekend, and that Otago mayors were told just 2 weeks ago the build was still going ahead as planned, after the decision to make the Tararua Highway a toll road, which has seen hundreds of locals out in force to public meetings where local National MPs were berated and just had to stand there and take it, where international organisations have been warning potential migrants looking to come here to work in necessary areas like the health sector to stay away because the government is seen as openly hostile to them. After OIA requests showed that the Te Reo Māori course that was recently gutted by 30 million to fund print resources for the rushed maths program, which is based on erroneous test results, was actually considered incredibly valuable and high quality, and wasn't NZQA accredited because it's a personal learning development course for educators and success isn't measured the same way that NZQA measures outcomes for students. Or that another OIA revealed that the much lauded success of bringing down crime in the Auckland CBD also saw that there was an additional 26 to 30,000 victims of violent crime around the country, and 85% of those were women. That family violence rose sharply, that older people were being targeted more, and most of that could be tracked back to the extra financial stress people were under. That regions are suffering as mills and forestry are hit by economic downwinds, that reversing the oil and gas exploration bans will screw up our international reputation. That Nicola Willis missed last quarter's deadline to announce their grand plan for replacement ferries, which has already cost an extra $500 million. That reports tobacco giant Philip Morris would be the big benefactor of tobacco tax cuts. This government still doesn't know where that advice came from, by the way, about that topic. That the most basic tools for keeping people safe from COVID, like free RATS tests, are now gone. That this quarter's action plan released from the PM yesterday included unpopular choices to remove agriculture from the emissions trading scheme, the removal of the long-standing genetic engineering ban, more beneficiary sanctions, and announcing the first government-funded for-profit charter schools. Is it any wonder why people are souring to this coalition? After all, the things I just mentioned are just from the last week. It's a cavalcade of bullshit gushing like Niagara Falls. So it must be time to wheel out the National Party's secret weapon. Ta-da! It's former Prime Minister John Key, doing another rare but suspiciously timed round of public appearances. A sit-down with Stuff to talk about his quirky superstitions, his totally normal collection of helicopters, and of course, how it doesn't matter that Donald Trump is a convicted felon who foments hate and can barely string a sentence together whose policies would harm our trading partnership with the US and the people who live there. He's offering tax cuts, so John Key would vote for him. After almost a year of this, it's understandable people don't feel like the country is back on track. But as long as John Key is in the news, the party faithful kind of feel that it still is. And more of everyone else feels like they're watching the Tanguai disaster unfold. Wait, we're still here? It's over. Find another video.